Good afternoon and welcome to KTN NewsDesk. My name is Edith Kimani. This is a show where we bring you the news as it happens. And we begin in Nyeri, where a family of 4 in Mukurweini, that's in Nyeri County, escaped death narrowly but sustained minor injuries after their house was swept away by a landslide. Now, this followed heavy rains in the area. Nancy Wambui with her 2 children were fast asleep in their 3-bedroom house in Giadogo village when they were woken up by falling debris. Now, this area is known to be prone to landslides, and the residents are appealing to the government to put up gabions to protect them from the future.
Sawa sawa, asante.
Sasa usiku ya kuamkia jana ndio mvua ilinyesha sana, kukakuwa hata na magurumo za radi. Sikusikia hiyo nyumba ikianguka, lakini nilisikia tu kitu imenilalia. Kustuka tu nikasikia hata mtoto analia. Nikavuta mkono nichukue torch ili nione ni nini inaendelea. Nikaona hata niko nje vile niliona mwangaza. Sasa ndio nikasikia tu nimelaliwa kabisa, hata siwezi kuamka. Nikaanza kuita huyo kijana wangu, alikuwa kwa hiyo room nyingine, hangesikia kwa vile mvua ilikuwa imenyesha sana. Sasa ndio nikaanza kujifuruta ndio nitoke kwa hiyo maji ilikuwa imetulalia.
Baringo Senator Gideon Moi says his regular tours across the Rift Valley are made in the interest of the people. Now, the senator says he seeks to address issues of maize farming, particularly the current discouraging prices, along with insecurity and the resettlement of Mau Forest evictees. He said his priority and the key interest of his party, KANU, is to agitate for real issues facing Kenyans by interacting with them and seeking possible solutions. He spoke in Kapsawar African Inland Church in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Umetuwapatia askari, yes. Wamefika 600. Kama wameshindwa na kazi, utueleze, sisi wenyewe tutajua vile tutachunga watu wetu. Hatutakaa kila siku tukilalamika watu wetu wamewawa, watu wetu wamewawa, watu wetu wamewawa. Paka wakati gani? The government has to change its operation program, how it does its operations. If their soldiers do not know the terrain, leteni wale ambao wanajua terrain. And I'm not ashamed to say this, we've got soldiers from the pastoralist community ambao wanaweza hii kazi, ambao wanajua pale hii wakora wako. Tumeuliza KPRs ya kutosha, tumepatiwa ile ya juujuu. Tunataka wengi ambao wanajua pale hii wakora wako.
Elsewhere, women members of parliament have been asked to propose the way forward over the 2/3 gender rule. Speaking in Eldoret, KO South, MP Jackson Kiptanui called for sobriety in the debate over gender representation.
Tunawaomba kabisa, badala ya kusema Chepkonga amefanya makosa ama kamati ya Chepkonga amefanya makosa, ama kusema Jansin Muturi ambaye ni speaker wetu amefanya makosa, kusema kwamba tu scrap mambo ya nominated leaders pamoja na women reps. Wao pia wakae chini na watupatie proposals yao, ili tukae chini tuseme hii ni proposal moja kutoka National Assembly, hii imetoka wa mama, hii imetoka kwa civil society, tukubaliane ni which proposal is best for this country.
All right, so that's the story that we're seeing coming from that part of the region. Let's see what else we have globally, and we look at Burundi. Rather, we look at old tires and greenhousing, where the highlands around the Colombian capital are scattered with small buildings that look like out-of-place igloos, really, but are in fact innovative houses made from the tires that litter the country's roads.
A pile of tires soon to become Alexandra Posada's home. This environmental activist has launched a project to build houses out of old tires, including her own place in the highlands around Bogota. With brick-like tyres stacked around iron bars, the construction is both environmentally friendly and able to resist earthquakes, which are very frequent in this region.
The tires are a big, solid, heavy, and flexible mass because they are made of rubber and filled with soil, which means that in case of an earthquake, they will not move a bit, but the tire itself will adapt and won't break. The wall won't fall down.
Colombians throw out over 5 million tires a year. That's close to 100,000 tons of rubber polluting the environment. Some have tried burning them, but the smoke contaminates cities and chokes residents, still leaving the country with a big problem.
In environmental terms, those tires will end up being a serious issue if people don't start recovering them and finding some solutions to recycle them.
Posada only used up 9,000 tires on her own house, but on a larger scale, her venture could offer an ingenious solution to the issue. And it's not all about tires. Glass and plastic bottles also find a new purpose in the environmentalist's home, supporting bath panels or as skylights.
We have learned to value things, you see, because we've seen those tires left out there, abandoned on the streets, and now I know that we can do something with them.
So far, only a few rubber houses can be found in this area. But Posada hopes to inspire others with her unique take on green housing, as these tire homes are both cheaper and quicker to build.
Well, Baba is back with a bang. Now, we don't know from where, and it may not be a very loud bang, but a bang nonetheless. But as Wilson Buru explains on this week's episode of Mock the Week, he's still not doing enough to beat the government's level of ridiculous.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Mock the Week. My name is Wilson Buru, and let me say this. On this segment, we have time and time again consistently ridiculed and poked holes into some of the government's plans, and even gone ahead to say they are rubbish. And the reason for this is because, honestly speaking, they are rubbish. And this government just makes it so easy for us to make fun of them. And to that, we say thank you. But there's another group of individuals who, similarly to the government's handling of security or laptops for children, they don't seem to know what they're doing. Until now. Opposition leader Raila Amolo Odinga, a.k.a. Baba, a.k.a. Jakum, a.k.a. Babu, launched his newest website in a glamorous, unprecedented event full of pomp, color, and dancing models.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome our guest of honor, none other than the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. What about the new people coffee?
Hey, move! Move! You're blocking the view. Stop making me feel like Zacchaeus from the Bible. I think I read the wrong script on the magnitude of that event. Instead of a glamorous, unprecedented event full of pomp, color, and dancing models, it should have read an event, a low-key event rather, attended by 5 people. That notwithstanding, Baba was extremely excited to tell us what the website was all about.
Welcome to rao.co.ke, a chance for you and I to interact and to know each other better, and also to know more about Kenya, Africa, and the world.
Baba, what is the problem? You know, Raila looked like he had been forced to appear in his own website video. But I guess I understand the loss of zeal when you're 70 and you've lost elections twice in 13 years. It's going to have some sort of effect, right? Anyway, let's hear what Baba had launched this new youth interactive tool for.
Through this website, you can talk to me and share your ideas.
Ooh, sharing ideas. I am excited about this. So why don't we go to the website and share all the ideas we have, yeah? All right. So here we are on the website's homepage. Let's just look for the share ideas button. There's buy my book, donate, volunteer. Oh, wait a minute. Is this website about sharing my ideas or sharing my money? But that did not stop Baba from getting to the podium to launch his website, accompanied by a watermelon. And as is customary of Kalonzo Musyoka, he could not make up his mind on where to stand.
I know it's like just a melon.
That, however, did not stop Baba from pointing out the most important aspects of this website.
You can buy my book, that is The Flame of Freedom. You can buy it online. You can make also contributions. And then you can make contributions, you can volunteer.
Oh dear. Okay. So that was that. Baba launched a new website with a lot of excitement. You know what? Let's go to a new form of excitement. Safaricom made 39 billion shillings this year. And as usual, our financial correspondent, Jerry Muchura, is in the building ready to tell us what big announcement Safaricom has come up with. Jerry, give us the big news.
Now, if Safaricom donated this year's profits to the government, yes, all 39 billion shillings, the government will have enough moolah to take care of big business.
For instance?
For instance, paying the MP's salary. Okay, now, let's do the math.
Okay.
We have 359 members of parliament, each earning 850,000 shillings per month, right?
All right.
That comes to roughly around 306 million a month.
You've been studying your math.
You don't mess. Or 3.7 billion a year.
Wow. What? No wonder the government is broke.
I know, right? So, Safaricom should feel so patriotic and donate 36 billion shillings to the government so that the legislators can be paid for at least the next 10 years. This way, the government can focus on smaller issues like, providing security, paying teachers, building roads, paying police, building hospitals, such little non-issues like that.
There's a place called Nadome, Nadome. You guys gave me the wrong script. This reads Nadome. Okay, it's in Somalia. And because it's in Somalia, the Kenyan government stopped caring.
Exactly 48 hours later, another group of armed bandits, also believed to be Turkana, raided a homestead in Nadome, 15 kilometers from the Baringo border.
Wait, I thought Baringo was in Kenya. And that would essentially mean that Nadome is in Kenya, which would also mean that the Kenyan government cares about Nadome, which would mean that the government of Kenya swiftly acted to quell these killings. I have a feeling I'm going to be very disappointed.
The government does not yet know how many people have been killed in this attack. The area has now been cordoned off. Again, scarcity of information.
The question on everybody's mind now is this. Suluhu la shida ya mauaji ya kiholela yanayotokea Nadome ni nini? Ili kutupa jibu hili, huyu hapa mwanahabari wetu Godwin Kimani. Godwin, katika utafiti wako, umepata suluhisho gani?
Wilson, kwanza kabisa umekosea. Kwa sababu, mimi sidhani Nadome ni Kenya. Kwa maoni yangu, Kenya ni State House, Machakos, Karen, Selena na labda Mombasa peke yake. Sio pwani mzima. Kwa hivyo, ningewasihi watu wote wanaoishi Nadome, tafadhalini, hameni huko mkuje Kenya. Tutawakaribisha kwa moyo mkunjufu na mikono miwili kama tulivyokaribisha John Kerry ama Obama akishafika. Na hakikisho la kwamba usalama utapatikana. Kama si hivyo, hakuna dawa.
Thank you very much, Godwin, for that. And before we go, let me urge you to stop expecting too much from this government, especially on security. I mean, these are the guys who promised small children laptops. Harafu.
Mock the Week with Wilson Buru. He might make you laugh, but he certainly makes you think. And if you want to think even harder, there's an extended version of that episode of Mock the Week that's available online. Just log on to www.standardmedia.co.ke. There's a nice icon there which says KTN, and all you need to do is scroll down and look for Mock the Week. Simple enough. Elsewhere, operations at the Kenya Technical Teachers College ground to a halt as students staged a demonstration demanding the removal of their principal. Now, the students accuse the principal of failing to provide them with sufficient accommodation even after they had paid for it. They said they have been thus forced to seek alternative accommodation outside of the campus. They also claim that 4 students have lost their lives in the past 1 month due to rising cases of insecurity.
We were having solution because we were being accommodated in some certain place. Now, and when we came here again, we found that this man decided that we are not going to be accommodated, and yet he wants us to be accommodated outside.
Pesa za accommodation lazima zirudishwe. Na tunataka principal mwingine. Shule imeharibika, school fees imeongezwa, wanafunzi wakienda nje hawezi pewa allowance, yani principal amekula pesa zetu.
This is NewsDesk, and this part we do speak to people in the business world. I'm Joy Doreen Bira, and joining me in studio is Nita Omanga, who is the Director Risk Services at Visa Sub-Saharan Africa. She's here to talk to us about this electronic-enabled card payment system. And I'll start by asking, how secure is the Visa card when making payments?
Thank you, Joy. So the Visa card and the Visa network, what we call VisaNet, is extremely secure. Visa invests huge amounts of money globally to ensure that our system is one up. We don't have downtime. We ensure that our transactions are secure. We monitor transactions continuously. We're able to pick out anything that appears to be suspicious and can intercept those transactions even before they're completed. For the other transactions that do go through, we have a number of risk tools available that our banks are using to enable them prevent fraudulent transactions from actually being completed. And in the event that they do get completed and they do go through successfully, we have a very complex dispute resolution process that the banks use to manage that particular transaction and that dispute.
All right. So you have about 47,000 transactions per second, and your biggest clients happen to be banks. How do you help them, knowing that a lot of Kenyans, for instance, have a negative perception towards cards, and one of the reasons is because they fear to enter the information online. How do you guard against all of those insecurities?
Yes, so we do introduce products over time, new products and new services to the banks that help mitigate fraud. One example I'll give you is the chip and pin card. Chip and pin was introduced to deter face-to-face transactions, and this was fraud that basically was taking place on fake cards or counterfeit cards or skimmed cards. It comes under various names. The chip was introduced because the chip itself is virtually impossible to break. The risk components that are built into the chip allow it to be very intelligent, such that the card itself is able to communicate with the terminal, and the terminal can verify, one, is this a genuine Visa card? Number two, is this type of transaction allowed? And number three, because of the PIN factor, is it the actual card holder who is transacting? Now, riding on that whole PIN factor is why we communicate to the general public, to consumers, to safeguard their PINs. Because once the card is stolen, and if you had the PIN also compromised, then your card definitely can be used.
Right.
But without the PIN, it cannot.
Okay. Now, Visa seems to be enjoying a number of can I say monopoly in some markets. We talk about South Africa, I talk about Nigeria, but when it comes to Kenya, when you talk about M-Pesa, which is the biggest platform or mobile money platform, it happens to be enjoying millions of consumers. Have you thought to tap into the exact market that M-Pesa is targeting?
Thank you for that question. That's a very good question because we get that very often. M-Pesa is not our competitor. Our competitor is cash. Moving countries or communities away from cash onto other forms of payment, be they electronic payments, be they mobile payments, is always a very healthy indicator for the financial sector. So we are actually looking to move people away from cash onto our card payments and not necessarily moving them away from any other form of mobile payments.
All right, so when you talk about cash, I'm thinking you're actually talking about the informal sector. But what are you doing exactly to reach out to those people who are, say, in the downtown places and encouraging them to use more of Visa electronic cards as opposed to cash?
Okay, so there is still a huge market that remains untapped. If I can just give you a simple example, if you walk down Moy Avenue or Tomboya Street, we've got thousands of stores that we call exhibitions, thousands of little shops that sell mobile phones, etc., etc. Now we want the consumers to be able to go into any one of those smaller shops or smaller establishments and be able to make a card payment. We also want consumers to go to their neighborhood duka, as we call it, or the neighborhood kiosk, and make a card payment to purchase whether they're going to buy bread and milk and eggs. It's this.
At what cost, by the way?
Oh, a very good question. So there is no cost to transacting on a Visa card. And what we communicate to merchants are the establishments who accept cards, is that there should be no distinguished difference between a cash sale and a card sale. So milk is 50 shillings, whether one pays by card or by cash. Yes, so there is no cost.
Well, thank you so much for joining us to enlighten us about the Visa card payments. Your final remarks very briefly.
So we do have a Card Security Week running the whole of this week. Card Security Week is something that we have done in other markets, but we're doing it for the first time here in Kenya. We've done it in South Africa, in Namibia, in Zimbabwe, etc. And basically what we do during this week is bring all of our clients into workshops. We showcase any new products and new services that we have. We showcase services that have not really had the uptake within this particular market. And because it is Card Security Week, we intend also to reach the wider communities so that people feel secure to use their cards. There are a large number of people who have cards in their wallets but don't use them. Why? To demystify that fear and for them to feel encouraged that behind the network, the Visa network, is absolutely secure.
Right. So it's all about encouraging people to get on it, knowing that it is secure.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. We do appreciate the time taken to come and inform us about this. And well, that was Nita Omanga, who is the Director, Risk Services at Visa Sub-Saharan Africa. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. I'll now hand you over to Edith Kimani.
All right, it's now time for a Did You Know fact, and because Mother's Day was just yesterday, did you know that Alexis Gorgens was only 7 years old when she and her mom were held at gunpoint in Accra, and this incredible girl jumped in front of her mother and took 6 bullets to save her. Now, doctors said she'd never walk or talk again, but she not only walked, she also told them that she wasn't a hero. She was simply trying to save her mother. I wish all of us could be half the person this little girl is, Alexis. That's where we wind up this edition of KTN NewsDesk. My name is Edith Kimani. We leave you with the very beautiful pictures from our very own Catherine Omwando's wedding, who quit the Singles Club on Saturday to wed the love of her life, Moses Ogunde, at All Saints Cathedral.